Hey everyone, this is Tina.white with eXp Realty, and I am here today in my Akron office interviewing one of my favorite loan partners, Mr. Mark Thomas with Fairway Mortgage. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. First of all, yes, my name is Mark Thomas, and I work for a company by the name of Fairway Independent Mortgage. I started in the industry in 1994, and I started with Fairway in 1999. So sad to say, I am pushing 30 years.
Wow, he's like a dinosaur in the mortgage industry.
Yeah, that's sweet. Thank you.
Well, anyways, there's a good reason why I asked Mark here today, and obviously it's because he does have all this experience and knowledge. That is something that I think when I'm working with new buyers and sellers too, that it's just good to have a strong, experienced person I can refer them to, like Mark. So thanks for coming today. I'll try to make this as painless as possible for you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So tell me about, I know the market shift is happening right now. We're
Yeah,
all feeling it.
yeah.
You've been through a couple shifts
I,
because you're a
sh-
dinosaur. We just talked about that. But
I sure
anyways,
have. Yeah, yeah.
so tell us, what's your take on this market change? Is it different than the ones we've seen in the past?
Well, the most recent shift I would compare this to would be 2007, through maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So it is similar in the negativity, I would say, but we would also argue there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. Uh,
Oh,
the,
I like that.
the first reason I would say that is interest rates historically have been tied to inflation. And I think everybody knows the Fed has increased the Fed rates. And with that, we are seeing a bit of a slowdown in inflation, and we anticipate a bigger slowdown in 2023. So when that happens, we anticipate interest rates to fall as well. Okay, now that may be, you know, 6 months in, maybe sooner. So again, we're optimistic. We think by the second half of next year, rates will fall. So that's one reason. Second reason, I would say we do feel like a lot of buyers stayed home,
Hmm.
meaning, okay, they did not come out and shop in 2022. We do believe as rates come back, we anticipate, higher activity with both buyers and sellers as they'll be looking to move. Um, the third reason I would say is back in 2008, there was a glut of homes. There was a huge inventory, and if I remember correctly, it was somewhere around 4 million homes nationwide. We don't have that currently.
No.
Because of that high inventory, you saw housing values go down. So the great news is we don't see, okay, a housing bubble. We expect housing to stay stagnant or maybe drop a little bit, but it won't be like it was in 2007, 8, and 9.
That's exciting to me. I'm kind of excited about that. I know I've in the past year with a lot of the buyers I've worked with, there's a lot of frustration. Let's just face it. We've got multiple bidding wars going on because we don't have enough inventory, like we just talked about. Um, some of the buyers just got burned out and they left the market. I highly encourage those buyers to come back. Come back, stay with us. I think now is going to be a great time. We're going to see negotiation coming back, which we're already experiencing. We're seeing closing cost concessions again. Yay, we love that. Help buyers out. Um, and the rates, these rates still are not bad, right? I mean, gosh, what were rates back in the 80s?
Yeah, well, rates were in double digits, of course, right?
Right.
And when I bought my first house, my interest rate was 9.5%. Okay, so
Wow.
when we
Me
hear
too.
6, 7%, we don't flinch. It just takes a while for
Yeah.
the market to get used to a higher rate.
Right. I think the days of threes and fours are just kind of, that was a COVID thing. That
Yeah.
is, you're probably not going to see that again in your lifetime, I would assume.
Well, you never know
Very,
for certain. But
never know for
yes.
sure,
Yeah.
but that would be our guesstimate.
Yep.
So, what kind of creative options are out there for buyers today? I know I've been hearing this buzz. Everybody talks about this a 3-2-1 or a 2-1 buy down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think anybody understands what the heck it is. Can you
Okay.
help us out there?
Sure. I'll certainly I'll try. Okay. So again, there is a 3-2-1 buy down and a 2-1 buy down. Today, just for time restraints, we'll talk about the 2-1
Mm-hmm.
buy down if that's okay.
That'd be great.
All right. But either of these programs, okay, what you're doing is you are prepaying a portion of the interest. Okay. On the 2-1 buy down, it would be for the first 2 years. Okay. Now, with that, the benefit for the borrower is if you're prepaying some of that interest in advance, okay, they're going to start at a below market interest rate. Okay. So, as an example, if interest rates are 7%, we would tell you the first year the interest rate would be 5.
Okay.
The second year, okay, it would increase to 6. And then on year number 3, and then for the duration of the loan, the rate would stay at 7%. Okay. Now, with that, I'd kind of like to walk you through a hypothetical, if I may. All right. So, sorry,
Do you need assistance here? You want me
I put these together. Yeah. All right. So what I'm showing here is a $200,000 mortgage. And in the first year at a 5% interest rate, the principal and interest would be roughly $1,073. Okay. Now bear with me. Second year, okay, that same $200,000 loan at a rate of 6%, the payment jumps up to $1,199. Okay. Third year goes up to the max at 7%. Principal and interest is $1,330. All right, now what does all that mean? Okay, if you will, payment at 7%. The third year, again, $1,330. The first year at 5, it's $1,073. That's a $256 difference. What we're going to do is we're going to take that $256, we're going to multiply it by 12 months. That's $3,083.
So it's costing you that much to buy that rate down.
It's costing the buyer
for
this
3
much.
years.
Now bear with me.
Or 2 years.
We're not quite done.
Okay.
The second year, payment still, okay, peak rate will be 7%, $1,330. The second year at 6%, the payment's $1,199. That's a difference of $131. Okay, if I multiply that by 12 months, that's $1,578. Okay, what I'm going to do here is we're going to add year one, $3,083 of interest plus the $1,578. Okay, that's a total of $4,661. That would be paid up front. Now, that can be paid, depending on the loan program, by the buyer, the seller, or the lender. Okay, does that make sense?
The lender.
Now, if the lender pays it, okay, they premium price the interest rate. So in other words, they may start at 5.5, 6.5, 7.5.
Oh, so if another lender was to say, "Hey, I can beat that," or whatever, you don't. It's no cost to you.
Correct.
There's always a cost involved.
Well,
no matter how you're viewing it.
That's right.
Whether they're packing it in with a 0.5% rate difference, right, or the other.
You can hear commercials where they're saying that they'll pay the first year.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how are they going to pay that? How's the lender going to pay the first year? They're going to premium price that loan.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, why would a buyer want to do that? Well, number one is obviously they're getting a lower payment, right, the first year. Okay. Second of all, it gives them a growth opportunity for their income. So in other words, hopefully, in a perfect world, over the next 2 years, okay, their income increases, which then they can kind of walk themselves, okay, into the payment. Does that make sense?
Kind of ease into it.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully, okay, it may provide more disposable income, which means they can fix up the home, okay, save their money, whatever they choose to do with it. But ultimately, it saves them some disposable income. Okay. The fourth thing, okay, in a perfect world, rates drop. Okay. When they drop, of course, the consumer can refinance the mortgage.
So my other question was, as you do, if you decide to do the buy down, are you able to refinance before the end of that period?
Oh yeah, you can refinance, okay, at any point, right? And in that, though, if you do refinance, one of the benefits to the 2-1 buy down or even the 3-2-1 buy down is that interest, okay, that's paid in advance. If they don't use it, it's refunded back to the consumer. Now, it can be refunded back to the consumer one of two ways. One would be cash, okay, but really what lenders will do is they'll tie that to the principal. So in other words, if the borrower owes, $198,000 and they're due $1,000, okay, the payoff would be $197.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if I said that well enough.
Perfect. Okay, well that's good to know because I think that's a great incentive. Awesome. Any other things that buyers can do right now?
Well, here's another thought. What they could potentially do if the buy down scares them, meaning they don't ever want to see that 7% interest rate. Right. Another thought would be we could take that same money, okay, and buy down the fixed rate. So in other words, instead of getting a 7% rate, If they spent $4,000 up front,
Okay.
potentially we could get them down to, let's just say 6.25%.
So you can buy a point. Is that what they call that?
A point is 1% of what they borrow. So in a perfect world, they would buy 2 points. That 2 points, hopefully we could get them at least 0.5%, maybe as much as 1%. And of course, then they're at that for the entire 30 years.
Wow, you're just a wealth of information, man.
I'm
Wow.
pretty
Thanks,
smart,
Mark.
Tina. I'm pretty smart.
So if anybody is looking at getting pre-qualified next year, pre-approved, we want to say pre-approved, not pre-qualified. There's a difference. That's another video for another day. But how do they reach you? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, there's a lot of ways, but I'll just give you my cell phone. How's that?
Wow, he's giving out his cell phone. Check it out. Yes.
330.
Let's see if he knows it.
801-6459. And we'd be happy to help.
Awesome. And you've got a great staff behind you too. I understand you've got a great team, so you'll take good care of them.
I do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for taking time to be with me today. I appreciate it. I think everybody at home enjoyed this, and hopefully you learned a little something today. If I can be of any help to you, feel free to reach out to me also, and 330-388-7721. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.